Today morning, we inaugurated our first branch in India for Doha Bank. I want to put you in perspective for 5 to 7 minutes about the change in face of India, change in face of Qatar, and how Doha Bank is going to play a role in India. What are the expansion plans? I'll give you the bigger picture, and then I'll ask you to ask questions which I can respond. As you all know, Doha Bank is a Qatari financial institution established in 1978, which has got extraordinary credential as one of the sustainable performer, a financial institution of par excellence, having A+ rating and the highest return on average equity and average assets. Whether it's a boom or downturn, the institution has the privilege of performing better and better. We have footprints, over 50 branches in Qatar. We have branches in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait. Now in India, we have also have global representation in Sydney, Tokyo, Seoul, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, Istanbul, London, Frankfurt, and Toronto. We applied for a license, and we have an organic expansion after the approval of the Reserve Bank of India for the Mumbai branch. Beginning of this month, 31st of March, 1st of April, we also acquired 2 of the HSBC Oman branches, one in Mumbai, another one in Cochin. This is the wider network. Before I come to the specifics of our strategic direction and the plan, I also want to put you in perspective about Qatar, the Gulf states, the global economy, and Indian economy, and we'll also share some of the opportunities for India and the Gulf. How do we promote the bilateral trade, investments, banking and finance? Because many of the press people who met me on the way, they said, before going to, they have their question on global economics, Indian economy, now what's happening after 1 year of the new government. Somebody asked me, he said, India is the fastest growing economy. How do you see, how do you rate the current investment climate in India? Those questions I'm going to answer. Before that, I want to put you the bigger picture in India, bigger picture in the world. We all know, even after 6 years of financial crisis, the global growth has not been as we wanted. Sustainable growth is still not there. The global growth is between 3.5 to 3.7% for the year 2015 to 16. Advanced economies like United States, United Kingdom, whether it is rest of the EU countries or Japan, or they are still under pressure to convert as real economies. United States is picking up well. Their growth is last quarter and indicates with the That's the state of the advanced economies. In essence, advanced economies are still coming to terms. Emerging economies, which was the driving force hitherto for the incremental growth of the world, over 60 to 65% of the gross domestic product in incremental terms, is also slowing down. China is projected between 6.8 to 6.3% between 2015 to 16. Russia has got a negative growth. As you could see, the geopolitical tension is impacting. We also have Brazil, less than 1%, and the overall emerging economies, but for India, has not been in a incremental growth form compared to previous years. India, as a functional democracy with having political stability, is the fastest growing economy in the world. 2015 spring meeting in Washington last week concluded India is going to do between 7.5 to 7.8%. Again, our fiscal framework, budget policy and framework clearly propelling not less than 8%. That's quite a positive reflection. The Gulf states, where 20-25% of the world gas comes from, has been going through extraordinary turbulence as well. The commodity prices have dropped. Oil is a real deflection in terms of real order. Gone are the days where oil was quoting 3 digits. Today, Brent is quoting around 65 and New Mexico US crude is around $57, $58. There are multiple factors for it. One is the dollar index. When we denominate everything in dollar, when dollar gets strengthened, the commodity futures are not there. In the process, the spot deals are taking place between demand and supply. Demand has marginally come down, supply has increased. The reflection is what we are seeing, glut in the gas price and oil price. The Gulf states are going to report around 1.5 trillion, 1.46 trillion as the gross domestic product, with an incremental growth not less than 4 to 4.5%. Rest of the world, if I have to enumerate, nothing material which is visible. The Gulf states are going to still, taking oil at $60, is going to have a current account surplus, because the cost of production for oil is still low. With the long-term contracts, whether oil or natural gas, sustainable economics, and Gulf and India are logical partners. One is more than 7 million Indians working in the Gulf states. Their home is India for them. It's just 2.5 hours away from India. The bilateral trade between the Gulf and India is $150 billion. Topping in the list, if you look at it, it's United Arab Emirates, again Saudi Arabia, UAE, as we call, is doing over 50 billion. 43 billion is Saudi Arabia. Kuwait is doing 18 billion. Qatar is doing 16.7 billion. And Bahrain and Oman between 6 billion and 1 billion respectively. The bigger picture is we have import of oil, gas and petrochemicals for India, and the Gulf countries exports all this. They are also importing, Gulf states are also importing plant and machineries, jewelries, food items, apparels, etc. But the opportunity lies between India and the Gulf in multiple form and substance, especially between two performing countries. There are two countries in the world today is performing over 7% growth. One is India, another one is Qatar. What is special about Qatar? What is special about India? Let's start with India. One is the political stability. Massive mandate last year the government has been a reflection of political stability. Some of the initiatives taken in the last 1 year has propelled very positive signals to the international markets. That's precisely the reason rating agencies are now upgrading. Investments have moved from 28 billion inward investments in 2013 to 35 billion in 2014. The remittances is over 75 billion. Significant portion, over 40%, comes from the Gulf states by the expatriate labor force residing in India, rather in the Gulf states, and they form a significant portion of the overall remittance. The remittance is more than the investments. The policy initiatives taken by the government has been compelling for us to believe liberalization is taking place. Foreign direct investments is being wanted. Investment climate has been liberalized, whether it is defense, whether it is insurance, whether it is real estate, whether it is healthcare, 100%, some of the cases 49%, has been an extraordinary opportunity for India to have a very strong financial stability. Apart from the GDP, the current account deficit is getting fixed. Possibility of a current account surplus is visible. Now, fiscal terms, less than 4%, and again, improving fiscal consolidation is a must for Indian financial stability. What we need to look at is how to attract investments. While the global investments has been improving, we have to see how we are going to improve the Indian investments. How do we get the multi-billions, if perhaps trillions required? 12th Finance Commission insists for over $1 trillion of investment required in the infrastructure. And our intention as a professional institution, me as an Indian, as a proud Indian, who has been a non-resident over 30 years, I am very optimistic in bringing this partnership between. If you look at the global investments or sovereign funds, is around 6.7 trillion. Significant portion, more than 35% of the global sovereign fund, over 2.6 trillion, comes from the Gulf. This is what we need to attract. By establishing a branch in India, it's our commitment to bring the investments. We have to promote the bilateral trade. We have to bring in investments, inward investments. We also have to promote the bilateral banking and finance. That is what we are seeing as a bilateral opportunity. The global investments topping in the ranking is China with 126 billion last year. Next is Hong Kong, which is part of the Chinese mainland, 108 billion. Then comes United States. We got 35 billion last year, mere. Huge opportunity lies between the Gulf states and India to bring investments, because we are importing, as I said, oil, gas and petrochemicals. Every year the balance of payment, over 100 billion, is going to the Gulf states. It's our opportunity to realize, by engaging in bilateral trade, investments can be created by protecting the investments, giving tax exemption, issuing a debt paper, by declaring moratorium for the payments to be made over 100 billion a year. We see it as an opportunity potentially. I am planning to talk to various investment authorities, whether Qatar investment authorities or Abu Dhabi investment authorities or Saudi investments or Kuwait investment authorities, to bring these inward investments, invest in India. That is one focus. We also have taken multi-billion exposure before our commencement of our operation here to Indian financial institutions and Indian corporates, either through onshore or offshore, for listed companies who are engaged in business in the Gulf states. It's our commitment again to support the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. We have signed up with the SME Chamber of India in 2011. We are also promoting the SME from India. We are inviting them to Middle East. Few corporates are also dealing in the Gulf states for economic engagement, whether they are construction companies or otherwise, whether it is Punch Lloyd, L&T, Voltas, Tata, some of the Shapujis. There are many companies who are engaged in the Gulf operations. We want to invite more these companies because, as you know, Qatar is hosting 2022 World Cup. We have airport, seaport, road, rail network is coming up. Similarly, Dubai is hosting 2020 Expo. There is so much modernization taking place for infrastructure creations. We want to invite the Indian corporates, Indian small and medium-sized entrepreneurs to come. That is where Doha Bank is going to play a bigger role. With our commitment to improve the overall bilateral advantage, we commenced our first branch today. We also have 2 of the HSBC Oman branches, one in Mumbai, another one in Cochin, which in the next few months' time we will reorganize and integrate into our mainstream to see Doha Bank has got 3 branches. That is not the only committed vision we have. We want to scale it up. We want to scale up Doha Bank activity, creating multiple forms of investments and lending, investment partnership, whether it is corporate or SMEs, loan or overdrafts, bill discounting or bill purchased. We want to facilitate the Indian corporates. Our cost of fund is effective and we can offer primary lending relatively cost effective for the Indian entrepreneurs. That is the very purpose. And today, the Finance Minister of Qatar, Union Minister of India Railways, the Central Bank Governor of Qatar, again Industry Minister of Maharashtra, Deputy Finance Minister of Maharashtra, my full board, they were all here with this purpose and mission. I am seeing growing India, emerging India, prosperous India, and I genuinely believe this century belongs to India. This century belongs to Indians. We clearly see the opportunity in real response to changing dynamics. One is the demographic dividend, younger population, the growth which we are envisaging. The whole world is upbeat about India and they want to build this partnership, rebuild this partnership with the emerging India. That's a very, very great opportunity. This minute is important. We need to seize this opportunity by building this global partnership. And we are here to improve the financial market. What has changed over the last 5-6 years is liquidity. India is an emerging champion in the global map in terms of governance, global institutional makeup, and we want to potentially add value to the overall momentum for India and Qatar, India and Gulf, India and the rest of the world at large. This is my bigger picture. Any specific questions, one by one, if you can ask me, I would like to answer. Anything you can ask. Global economics, regional economics, Indian economics, financial markets, stock market, currency market, bond market, property market, anything and everything I am open to answer to. Yes. Can you pass on the mic, please?
This is Abhijit Lele from Business Standard. Coming specifically to India, you will start with the 3 branches. This is what I understand?
Yes. We have, as on date, 1 branch fully functional. The acquired HSBC 2 branches will be integrated to the mainstream. In the next few months' time, we will have, I understand your question, yes. 1 branch fully functional, corporate or retail or treasury or everything we are doing now. Other 2 branches which we have acquired this month, 1st of April onwards, which will be integrated into the mainstream. We just changed the name board, systems needs to be connected, rest of the production services channels needs to be provided. In the next few months' time, we'll be ready. 1 in Cochin. And also, they are business as usual, but to get into value-driven offerings as Doha Bank, it is going to take few months. Shortest possible time will.
RBI has made it almost mandatory for a particular date. After that, whosoever comes, they should have a wholly owned subsidiary model to establish operations in India. So you have already established a subsidiary.
Yes, we started our operation in June last year.
Right.
We got a license and we just commissioned the branch. But integrating systems, people, procedures, process, physical locations, this has all happened in January this year, full scale. And formal inauguration is today. After getting the license, it's mandated that you have to have a license to go for acquisition even, or amalgamation. Under 44A, we got the acquisition done. Amalgamation was executed by both the sides, HSBC Oman and Doha Bank. On 31st March and 1st of April, the name board was changed for those two conspicuous operations of HSBC Oman. And it's up and running. Here is my mentor, SM Sancheti is sitting here. I studied in his school of accountancy. I didn't realize he was sitting there. It took me a minute in the flashlights. I couldn't see him. Please.
So this is Anita from the Economic Times newspaper. I would like to clarify or ask you a question on, are you operating as a wholly owned subsidiary in the country? Have you opted for the wholly owned subsidiary route, or you are coming as a branch banking route?
Good questions. See, our committed vision is to have wholly owned subsidiary. That's what we intend to achieve over the period of time. What we are today is an extension of our branch network. We are operating in 15 countries, and as I mentioned to you, right from Australia to Toronto, Canada. Doha Bank is a branch today. Plus, our committed vision is to scale up the investments, and once we build the brand, it is the right reflection to go for a subsidiary. That's what the commitment we made to RBI. So we will be converting into a subsidiary in the near future.
So if I can ask you, as a part of your licensing agreement, by when do you need to convert into a wholly owned subsidiary? Is there a timeline to that?
There's no timeline for it, but we have committed. It is also a business advantage. Let's put it this way. One is a regulatory requirement. We have a deep desire to convert into a full-scale subsidiary in the coming days to scale up the overall opportunity. By having 3 branches, our ability to reach out is limited. India is a big country. India is an emerging economy with 7 million Indians. To get the wealth management products, we need distribution channels. Either we come through business combination or we convert our footprints into multiple branch network. We are planning to do that.
How much capital have you invested in your Indian operations?
It's limited as on date as required for the minimum, and also the acquisition is also added additional capital, but that's not going to be, we are not capital constrained. I can bring in, as I told you, our exposure is multi-billion as on date. I have extended credit lines to very many institutions. I have given major corporates have taken funding onshore, offshore. Major Indian corporates who are doing business have taken exposure. It runs in billions. There is no capital constraint. Our capital adequacy today is nearly 15.6%. And we are also adding additional 2 billion Qatari riyal, that is over $500 million by next month. We have capacity to invest, provided there are right opportunities.
You said you are starting operations with retail, corporate as well as treasury. So within the retail business, are you also doing loan products? Do you plan to do that?
That's right.
And also I want to ask you is, how would you scale up your retail operations in India? Most of the foreign banks have faced challenge in terms of network, and also that's one reason why they are not able to scale up their business. So how do you plan to do that? And my other question is on the SME and the corporate side. There are a lot of foreign banks operating in the same space and competing for the same business. What is it that Doha Bank brings to the table that an SME should look at you? And isn't it too late for you to scale up the business in India?
There are 6 questions you asked within the
Yes, sir.
framework.
Like you to answer all.
One by one. So as far as the business model, I think she represents many of you now. The business model, as I rightly said, wholesale, retail, treasury. When you say retail, you ask us whether it includes SME or wholesale SME. We have a small and medium-sized entrepreneurship, business acumen. We are the #1 SME lender in Qatar. We believe sustainability is the name of the game. Create employment, create growth. You need to fund SME. Especially after the financial crisis, more and more SME is being promoted by policy framework around. India, we have signed up with the SME Chamber of India in 2011. I was waiting for the branch license to come. Now we are going to support. Let me underline again. I am going to support SME in a bigger scale. How will I support? With 3 branches. Answering your next question. We have collaborations in plan. There are vertical opportunities. We don't need to create our own delivery channels. There are NBFCs. There are specialized SME service providers who have constraints in terms of lending because they have capacity to lend is limited. They have capital constraints. We don't have capital constraint. Not only we don't have capital constraint, our cost of fund is so cheap. Our bank is an A+ rated bank in a AA rated country. So we are going to work with multiple financial institutions, and that is precisely today we discussed with various financial institutions. I will not be specific because unless we sign agreements with these financial institutions, it's very premature for me to reveal the names. That's there as a strategic direction. Now, as far as retail is concerned, what's our speciality? We are number one in retail in terms of business innovation. We are the first one to bring in SMS banking, web banking, mobile unit, GPRS, name it. Electronic commerce place called Doha Souk. Doha Bank Bazaar will be announced. There's nothing but payment gateway. So HDFC has seen have a very similar product by leveraging on the buyers and sellers, bank being payment gateway for electronic commerce. We have experiments over 11 years, not today. Doha Souk was pronounced in 2004 and multiple merchants are coming together. They have electronic showrooms. We provide them, we collaborate, we bring them together, integrate them and create a payment gateway to make the facilitation. So online commerce we promote it in the Gulf states, and that is precisely we want to do it. And the product is in a very advanced stage. My head of retail banking Suresh is here, my head of international banking is here, my corporate banking is here, my great mentor Mr. Parak is here. So they are all watching to see that Doha Bank is growing. Essentially, our conception is to bring in online commerce using bank financial service. People are not location centric, they are information centric. They are not product centric, they are consumer centric globally. That's what we are good at. We have to do the retail with a difference. And that's what we don't need thousands of branches to do that. Today, Doha Souk, I sent a birthday gift to my wife sitting in New York. We can do it. Online commerce can take place irrespective of your locations. That is possible. That is the way we are going to operate. Very soon we'll announce multiple product baskets, especially for the Gulf non-resident Indians in and around India. We want to offer them online commerce faster than ever. With RTGS, we are going to link it, the non-resident remittances. We have 7 million Indians, as I mentioned. Some are blue collars. Majority of them are blue collars. They are working in Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Oman, Qatar. We want to support them through payroll cards. Instantly, remittance will be tracked. Online, real time, money gets flowing. And we have branches in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, in addition to Qatar. This is the only Qatari bank here. So we have bigger opportunity to support the non-resident Indians. We want to do wealth management. Wealth, when we want to do, we need to integrate banking, insurance, stocks, mutual funds. We want to integrate them into the basket. And we are working on various collaboration, and we are going to offer these products as well. So I've answered all your questions, I believe. Did I? Yes. Next. We have a lunch as well. So don't miss the lunch also. Please, Mr. Pratap John from Gulf Times.
Yeah, Dr. Seetharaman, you mentioned about remittances to India, more than investments coming in. But since June of last year, we have seen oil price declining, coming down from $115 per barrel to what it is today. So don't you think that the oil price drop will be a big challenge for banks like you who are connecting India with the rest of the Gulf countries?
Good questions. You say the oil price is coming down. how will you have improved liquidity, or how will you have additional funding? The oil price as on date, as I mentioned, is 50% of what it was a year before. There are multiple reasons. I want to put you in perspective. The oil price is not a function of demand and supply alone. The dollar index has moved from 79 to 97. It even touched 100 basis points. When the dollar is weak, a foreign exchange expert like Parak is sitting here, you hedge the risk by buying commodity futures. When the dollar is strong, you don't want to catch the falling knife. You don't want to hedge the risk. So it is only spot deals. The commodity futures are out. That was over 25% cost for the price deflection. Now, what it means to the Gulf economics, the GDP which they were producing is around 1.9 trillion, 1.86 trillion last year, when the oil was 100 plus, 2013. Ever since the oil price started going downward, according to IMF, which was releasing the spring meeting reports, the GDP will be 1.46 trillion. The current account surplus is still possible because the break-even price for the Gulf states, where you have 45% of world oil, is, I don't want to say, be specific, everyone is speculating between $20 to $25. And they have investable surplus they can invest. But those who have started late, including hydraulic fracturing in the global space, shale gas or shale oil, they cannot match this kind of scale, and their cost of production is over $60. So oil price is going to go back in the medium term between 60 to 65. I'm talking about US crude. Brent will be 65 to 70. And the long term, if you have to have sustainable energy security, you have to pay between 70 to 75. That's in the long term. It is not going to touch, in my opinion, looking at the global economics, global growth, and the cost of and alternates with solar, wind, biofuel, biomass. If you look at the bigger picture, it should be in the range of 70 to 75 is sustainable. Meanwhile, alternates will come. India is concentrating on solar, and there are multiple opportunities through photovoltaic. Carbon reduction programs are coming up. Carbon neutral programs are coming up. Will also bring down the oil price in the very long term. So we are not running short of liquidity. For example, Qatar economics is 197 billion this year, 2015 GDP. The current account is 16.5 billion surplus, taking oil at 60. 16.5 billion taking oil at 60, not at 100. And it is 4.7% of the GDP, as a percentage of GDP surplus. So, are we going to have too much liquidity? The answer is no. Are we going to have sufficient liquidity for us to run our operations, to go ahead with our long-term plans in terms of liquidity or capital adequacy or investment across the cross-border like India? The answer is yes. So it's not going to strain. And there are bilateral partnership. Why India? Because the logical partner for the Gulf is India, with human capital, as I mentioned, with bilateral trade over 150 billion. And investable surplus money is there in the Gulf, not in the rest of the world. The rest of the world, the gross domestic product versus debt, if you look at it, they are over 100%. We have surplus here. And it is logical for me to believe we have to align with the Gulf states to bring in inward investments. I'm sure our plans will not be distorted by the current oil price trend. Next. Anything on the stock market? Anything on the bond market? Anything on the property market? A good question. See, Mr. Alagri, the MP is here. He is a personal friend of mine as well. He has visited Qatar, and a socially responsible bank. We gave a check to you also for the Kadalur tsunami. Rather, you had major turbulence 4 or 5 years before, and he wants to have Doha Bank in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu. I have taken my directors last year to Chennai. Last year April they were there. I showed them the growing prosperity of Tamil Nadu. Among the various states, Tamil Nadu is also fast growing state. Gujarat or other fast growing states. If you count, Tamil Nadu also ranking as one of the fastest growing in India. We want to open a branch in Chennai very soon. We will look at the opportunities as early as possible. Yes, there are another veteran actor, film actor, Mr. Yashvi Shekhar is here. Today morning you have Jayapratha, today evening you have other actors, including other yesteryears of Sri Devi or Jayapratha or Shatrughan Sinha or Mr. Yashvi Shekhar. Everyone is going to come for the grand reception. Don't miss it in the evening as well. You have Bollywood stars are also endorsing Doha Bank, you see. We host many film artists in Qatar and the Gulf. So they're all remembering us fondly, and they invited us to India. We invited them for the celebration. Today morning is only ceremonial. The maximum attendance is going to be, this hall is going to be full. We have over 300 confirmation tonight, and followed by dinner as well. And a musical recital by my good friend. Where is Mr. Prabhu? He just left. Yeah, okay. Shashwati Prabhu is going to have a fusion music tonight. So you're all most welcome to have dinner, light music, and banking. A bit of bankers will be there, businessmen will be there. My team is here. I want to invite my team members here to have a group photo here to show to the international press corp. Ganeshan, I am seeing here. Whoever is here, please come. Khalifa, come. Where is Asadi? Krishnan, Adrian. Any question? Any other questions? Prasad, Pratap, any question? Yeah, please.
Dr. Seetharaman, Qatar Investment Authority is flush with funds. India is one country which is looking for investments.
Yes.
And of late we have seen a lot of liberalization that is taking place in India's medical service sector. Then we have reforms in the insurance sector. And many other sectors will follow. Now, what can Doha Bank do to channel all these investments from cash-rich countries like Qatar coming to India?
I was telling in front of the finance minister today, we are floating with 40 billion forex reserves, cash reserves we have. Our intention, the finance minister has met many businessmen. He also assured, we want to invest in India. Qatar as investment authorities want to invest in India. We want to be the professional intermediary, and we want to look at project specifics, whether it is, Railway Minister was here. He is a great entrepreneur, okay, and he is a personal friend of mine. He came from the cabinet state to attend this, also discuss with the finance minister to look at possibilities of Qatar investment in railways, whether it's railways or banking or defense or other opportunities. We have to look at it, and they are ready. Qatar investment is ready. Doha Bank is the bridge. The minister has mentioned very clearly, Doha Bank will play a professional intermediary role between the entrepreneurs who are looking for investment partnership and the investors. On the B2B, we will be the middle B. Yeah. And again, business to business, we will be the bank in between. B2G, we want to be the B again in the middle. P2P, we want to be in the middle as well. So we are here to support the Indian mission. Otherwise, look at the commitment. The finance minister was here and the central bank governor was here. You cannot ask for any testimony about the credibility of Doha Bank and an Indian who is privileged to run this institution. So, with all fairness, I am saying, my chairman, managing director are all here. My local advisory board members are here. Everyone is here. It shows our commitment to India. India is going to be the fastest growing economy in the world. You have to look at it relatively. When people look at, when I look at the television and other media, we shouldn't underestimate our potential. This century belongs to India, make no mistakes. I have no doubt in saying this. Pure econometrics will drive you. All that we need to do is to convergence of politics and economics, and everyone in the world is excited about India. This is a defining moment for India. Indian investments will fly. There's no question. It will come inside in the coming days. So much optimism has been set in world over, and IMF is saying India is going to grow, and they have upgraded. Moody's have upgraded Mr. Modi's government as well. So it is an extraordinary sense of pride for Indians, and it is a privilege to be in India as Doha Bank, and we want to promote the bilateral investments. Qatar is keen, Abu Dhabi is keen, Kuwait is keen, and Doha Bank is keen to bring. If you have any proposals, please bring it to Doha Bank, and I'll make sure that I'll source you the right kind of funding. I'm saying it in the media. I know it will reach out en masse. That's our job. We want to bring in inward investments, and we want to play the bilateral bridge. Any other questions? All getting set for lunch? No questions? I'm going to be in the middle to take a photo shoot, and I will conclude. Please join us tonight. Tonight is going from 6:30 onwards. We have networking. 7:30 I'll give the bigger picture as I gave today. Many of the business community people are coming. If you have any more questions, I can always answer one-to-one. Thank you for your presence, and I wish you good luck, and thank you for participating since morning. And also make sure you telecast as much as you can to build the brand equity of Doha Bank. Thank you.